Hello and welcome. My name is Texas Grandma. This will be a video sort of going over, tutorializing, if you will, the Terra Crit level 1 any percent route as it stands today. Bit about my credentials: former world record holder, pioneered a lot of the strats used. Not that many, actually. I pioneered the Solo Montero node stuff. And the other, 95% of this run is like Kirby, Sora, and Pestilist. But I am making a tutorial, and I know how to do all that stuff. So, yeah, Terra Crit level 1 has seen a lot of changes in the past couple of years. And the out of all the Birthright Sleep speedrun tutorials that exist now, this one is by far the most outdated. It's basically a different game at this point, as far as I'm concerned. And I think some updated documentation of how to do the run is overdue. This is not a beginner-friendly route by any means. There are a couple of things here if you're starting out, a couple bits of like tech and some strats and stuff that can be applied to the older route, the route that Pestilist tutorializes in his tutorial, that uses the 6 Surge deck for endgame. I'll point those out when those come up. But this is very much not a route that I would recommend to beginners. This is a route for like the person who like maybe has just broken sub-hour or sub-55 and is looking to take their game to the next level. And like you know how to do the Terra Nord fight. You're not death cycling left and right. That's if you're not at that point, stick with the old route. You'll probably learn some better fundamentals that way. Yeah, and instead of doing more lengthy preamble, I'm gonna assume anyone progressing past this point basically knows what's up with this game. So I shouldn't have to tell you that time starts when you select character, but that is true. Time does start when you select character. Also, this is probably going to split into 2 parts because of some limitations of my ability to record game footage, the details of which do not matter. 3, 2, 1, go. Start, baby! Orbs is the same as it ever was. No real change here. Still like to go for this opening. Bit of a misplay there, I would say, on my part. Let's go. I'd say that went pretty well. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Again, like, if you're watching this, you should kind of already know the deal with orbs. Shot lock wave 2, use quick blitz. I will say one thing that I don't think Pestilist touches on in his tutorial is that you can kind of predict, particularly for that transition to wave 3, where you want to get that quick blitz on that group of 2 orbs that spawns towards the back of the room, and your partner members like to dick you out of it. Their AI is pretty simple as far as like how they decide what they're going to attack. It's basically like they will attack the thing they are attacking until it dies, and then once that target is no longer valid, they'll just pick the next target. So like if one of your party members is near that part of the room when those orbs spawn, then they will fuck you and you should do something else. In that situation, I was pretty confident they were going to stay away, so I just went for it. Anyways, moving on. Menu in space. I've been messing with a slightly different way of getting to EXP 0 here. Left bumper up, left bumper up. If you do that very fast, I'm still working on it myself, but that can be a little bit faster than the conventional wisdom, which is R1 3 times and then up. That's something you can mess with if you want. And then the other thing we're gonna do, the first big change, turning off Ventus D-Link. We don't need it. And now we are getting into the force fight, which is going to be quite different. You're going to open by going to Aqua immediately, and just in the middle of the room, just immediately pop that Thundara. It should hit everything, and then everything that's left will die to either 2 hits or your combo finisher. And I like to use the finisher to clear out the floods. I'm trying to save the finisher for this guy. And we got a guy. Gather. Thunder. Alright, so here's the deal. So that was a pretty good demonstration, actually. I was really hoping to get to show how to deal with like the first couple of waves of that without getting the first drop. That's basically what you want, and it gets really hard to get through the fight with any amount of speed if you don't get the first Aqua drop from that first bruiser. Really want to save the finisher for the bruiser by any means. That I kind of flubbed it there. I had to back it up with the shot lock. It was fine. It worked. You need, in order to continue the run past Wheelmaster, you need both Aqua drops. So at high level, if you don't have both of your drops coming out of this fight, your run's probably dead and you're hitting that reset, which is a downgrade from what was previously the case, where if you had one D-Link, the Ven D-Link, you'd be able to continue the run. You need both, otherwise you're not getting out of Enchanted Dominion. Luckily, especially if you're... I still go for this even in PB attempts, and I'm reasonably close to world record within 30 seconds. And I go for what I'm about to go for, so I'm going to show you this backup. If you get only one drop, that gives you Magnera, and that gives you some options for fishing for D-Link just on the way. So it's convenient that I get to showcase that. In the meantime, we gotta grab some stuff. Money route is pretty tight for early games. I want that potion. I want that blizzard. Still doing the sliding dash on the bridge. I typically gather, but you can hit this group of enemies. Try to get a drop. 4 kills right there. That's pretty convenient. Want to make sure you get your D-Link back, whether you get the drop or not. Grab Zero Gravity. Grab Ether. I'm just going to use this early because this is really... Gather! Thunder! Like where you have the best chance. Yeah. So that's a backup you can go for, and that can potentially save you some resets. And if you're not at like the tippy top level, then that's a very acceptable backup to go for. And if that even doesn't work, you can just literally grind for it. Like, it doesn't matter. You know, if you're really in a no reset setting, you can just do that. Now I'm gonna move on. Ordinarily, you wouldn't have slide and dash off cooldown. I usually use it like here, in like an actual RTA setting, but whatever. Let's talk about this Wheelmaster strat. This strat is tough. It is about the same speed as the Venge strat if it goes well, but that's that is an if. It's not a massive if. I have found that this fight is pretty consistent once you know what to do. But this, you want a practice save for this. You want to really drill this, and make sure you know what to do. So first thing you're gonna do, this opening is pretty simple. Step forward, as you would with Ven actually, because you want to bait out this attack. You're gonna do a full combo. You're gonna get hit, dash away, Lazara, and then you're gonna dash back in. You're gonna wait until he starts backing away from you. If you start attacking before he does that, then he can go off in weird directions. And one full combo into Mind Square, dash away Blazara again, dash in again, one back away. We're going to sneak in a Fire Strike, and then as Fire Strike is going off, I'm going to move over to Magnera here. That's the next command I want to use. Next thing Wheelmaster is going to do is going to do another big spin attack. I watched the wheel. The wheel is going to rotate like 135 degrees towards, like, through the front. And I time my finisher. You want to make sure you're locked onto the main part of the body, first of all. If that lock-on breaks, it can be very bad, because you really want to keep track of the HP. And I find timing my finisher in this specific way makes it a lot more likely that I can do that and also get good damage. That was a little later than I'd ordinarily want to do it. And we want, after this finisher, we want, basically we want Wheelmaster to have a little under a bar of health. And basically what I do is if I hit both of these initial 2 hits of the finisher and it drops him to below a bar, I'll leave it alone. If it doesn't, if there's a little bit left, then I'll do the 3rd hit. That is something you're going to have to react to. I think you're going to have to do all 3. This is very bad, actually.
Gather! Thunder!
Wait to get hit. Fire Strike.
Freeze!
There's still a little bit of damage to go. That is very bad. Alright. Oh, and I have auto life. Alright, well. Okay, that's basically the worst case scenario. Let's just use this and just try that again. Hopefully see it all in, you know, in real time. That was the plan, actually. That was my intent all along. Yeah, this is not 100% consistent by any means. Sometimes you'll just get screwed out of damage like that. Full combo. Lazara. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, Mind Square. Hit. Dash in. Fire Strike.
Want some?
Okay, that looks a lot better. And yep, there was still a little bit of health after the second one, so I go for the 3rd one. And we're gonna hit the ground.
Gather! Thunder!
Thunder, very good. And I do the Fire Strike specifically is important. The Fire Strike does more damage than any of your magics will do. So that sequence of commands, the Magnet and Thunder will almost fill up your gauge, and then the Fire Strike should push this DM phase. And then you want to, I do 3 dashes away usually, pop a Mind Square, and the timing to get a super quick kill on this is pretty precise. There's 2 things he can do. He can either like run around in a circle and then try to approach you from behind, or run directly at you. And you want to time a finisher so that it's basically it's starting to go off as he's running into the Mind Square. And he gave me the wrong RNG, so I'm getting a little screwed on this. But I finished the fight. So that's basically the strat. Practice that. And if it looks mostly like that, you're in pretty good shape. Yeah. And if you have questions, hit someone up in the Discord, whether it's me, Kirby, or Pass. That one's tough. It's gonna take some practice, and that's just how it is. Next up is Dwarf Woodlands. Another big route change here. Flame Salvo is optional. You can still pick it up, If you're not comfortable with some of the more advanced Zac strats, you can still pick it up so you can still do like the flame salvo, like ignite loop stuff. But there's already a tutorial that shows you how to do that. So we are skipping flame salvo. That means we can do some different movement here. Dash off in this direction, one target on that same bottle. We'd use, all right, well, and then you want to not dash off the hold the stick in a little bit of a different angle from what I just did. But you'll land up here. You'll be able to dash around to here. I like to do a sliding dash into there. There's a very small optimization you can do here. If you do that correctly, it saves like half a second maybe. Potion chest here. And Fission Faraga here. And no menu, notably. Older route has a menu here, I believe. We are not doing that. Advantage of this route, as opposed to the old route, is that we will guaranteed have our second Aqua level here, which means this fight is ideally a lot more consistent. So I'm going to immediately enter Aqua's D-Link, and I'm going to lock onto a Flood as I am menuing down to my Magnera. For me, it's 3 hits of R2. I do the triggers, and then I will back away slightly from the Flood I'm targeting and pop the Magnera. And if it goes well, the Magnera should catch everything immediately. Let's see if it works.
Gather.
Okay, didn't quite. Sometimes one of them will duck you, in which case you just pop a Mind Square instead.
Gather.
That's a pretty easy fix. For this wave, I like to do Thundara into Mind Square, try and catch the next wave as it's spawning in.
Thunder.
That just bring you in. And here, I'm just gonna... Yeah, that'll work.
Gather. Thunder.
Forgot where Magnera was for a second, but that's fine. That's basically what you want the fight to look like. It's not entirely consistent by any means, but because you have Aqua D-Link, you have a lot more control over the way it goes. I do a sliding dash into this load zone. Yeah, so that fight is honestly just a lot easier than what you're probably used to. In this room, I specifically do that also. I do a slide off of the ledge so that I land on that lower step without having to enter a like landing animation. Small optimization, but it does save time.
Let's go.
Move to here is the same. And Magic Mirror is basically the same as it's always been. There used to be some ideas about like throwing a poison on this deck to make it a little more consistent. It doesn't fit into the route anymore, sadly. We're gonna do your 3 hits.
Thunder.
Spam through your commands.
Gather.
Knock him down. Get your finisher. And after the Fire Strike, something I do just to set myself up for success if he gives me good RNGs, I back away a couple hits, then pop a Blizzard.
Want some?
And that puts me in a good position if he does dash.
So long. Want some?
And something I don't believe Pest mentions is you can echolocate whenever he does one of these other attacks. If you have headphones on, you can echolocate where Mirror is going to spawn, roughly. It's a little hard to know precisely with this one, but you can tell for sure like which direction he's going to be. I know that he's ahead of me somewhere. Yeah, a little bit far.
Fire. Thunder.
And I really want to kill you here. Okay. Yeah, that works for the other attack too. Sometimes you can like sniper with a Blizzard. It's small optimizations. Ideally, you don't have to see any of those attacks anyways. TLDW, that fight is the same as it's always been. Menu here, you're going to sell Quick Blitz and Sliding Dash, sell Fission Faraga, and all your potions and ethers. So basically you are selling everything except Stun Edge, Blizzard, and Zero Gravity. Excuse me. All of these things you will need for the Melding route. And you're going to go to buy. You want 2 Fires, 1 Blizzard, 2 Thunders, 3 Magnets, and you'll only have enough money for 1 Bind. If you somehow get absolutely cracked potion and ether drops, you can potentially buy a second bind here. It's extremely uncommon. We are hoping to get a bind drop during Cinderella Escorts, and if we don't, there's a small backup to buy a bind later. But in any case, then we menu before we leave. And we are going to... This is consistent, right? So you're going to tab down, so R2, down twice, and then just straight up the line. Strictly speaking, you can build command decks however you want, but this one is just so convenient as far as menuing goes that I just go with this order. Zero Gravity's in a bit of a weird place, but you can work with it. But, you know, you can switch it around if you really want. I don't, though. And now we are heading to Castle of Dreams. And once again, we're going to do the same thing we did in the Dwarf Woodlands fight. Lock on to a flood, back away before we cast Magnera.
Gather.
And didn't quite catch everything, so I'm gonna drop her. Okay, that basically works though.
Gather. Take that.
Mind Square, right? Okay, good. And you didn't quite die for some reason. But that's basically what you want. Basically, the Magnera should last long enough that it pulls into second wave after the last flood dies. And then you get D-Link back very quickly because of all the floods being dead. And you repeat the same thing. The Mind Square knocks out the little bunny guys, and the bruisers spawn in while those hitboxes are still active. You hit them with a Thundara, they die. That version of it was a little messy, but you can find better versions of that strat. It's pretty good, and you should learn it. Let's continue. And you should already know, but there is a pulsing crystal off here. I'm going to grab it. And this fight is a pretty big beneficiary of this new route. Having 3 magnets is pretty sweet. You're gonna want to dodge forward and try to get an angle such that you push the flood like I just did, and ideally this is going to catch all 4 of them at once. Very nice.
Gather. Thunder.
And then I do the target switch there instead of pushing.
Gather. Thunder. Gather. Drift.
Getting soothing crystals. You want like junk crystals in this route.
Gather.
Like crystals.
Thunder.
Stuff that you wouldn't normally care about, like hungry crystals. Okay, you should have died. That's unfortunate. Alright, that's basically the only thing about that went poorly though. Yeah, it's a lot of really precise magnet placements. But this room is generally pretty forgiving as long as that bruiser actually dies. But yeah, it's, you know, there would be in most other situations you want to, like, for instance, go out of your way not to pick up shimmering crystals because those clutter up your inventory. We don't need any abilities shimmering crystals have, but we do want to meld some commands that have abilities we don't need later, or just with crystals we don't need, just because it helps with money routing. Commands that have abilities attached to themselves for more. So something to keep in mind. If you see a crystal, even if it's not something you ordinarily would need, grab it.
Gather.
For these guys, Magnet Thunder, Zero Gravity this guy, finish,
Gather.
Magnet Thunder directly on these guys.
Gather.
That opening is kind of a cakewalk now.
Gather. Thunder. Gather. Thunder.
And we're going to do something a little different from what you might be used to. We're going to do zero gravity.
So long.
We really want money, so we're going to kill these guys. I do.
Gather. Gather. Thunder. Want some?
And you didn't die, but that's okay. You want to kill everything up there. That's basically the sequence of commands you want to see. Magnet Thunder. Magnet Thunder. The placement's a little finicky, but it should get you all the kills you want. And I did see a bunch of Soothing Crystal drops, but as always, the Soothing Crystal is right here. And can also is a pretty quick pickup for extraneous crystal drops, like I was talking about. I did not see a bind drop, so I'm going to grab one here. Just tab down. And then 4 down. Yeah, the boots can drop binds, so that's what you want to be on the lookout for. Is the boots to drop some binds to skip that menu. If you don't skip the menu, no big deal. Let's do this fight. And this is also entirely unchanged from what you're used to. If you know how to do the fight on the old route, you know how to do it on this route. You just don't have the menu to Aqua Link.
Take that.
Which is generally like a good small time save.
Gather. Thunder. Freeze. Want some? Want some? Gather. Thunder. Take that! Take that!
That sure was a Symphony Master fight. Alright. And we are on our way out of early game. And as usually ends up being the case, we have a big menu to do in the Mysterious Tower. There's a cure chest here, which might be good for safety, either for money or if you want to do cure for final fights, which you won't be able to do if we're going for the Terra quick kill. More on that when we get there. But the cure chest is optional on both counts. And there are probably better ways to get healing. Anyways, so dodge forward, open your menu. You're going to do our first meld of the run. Hit triangle to hide the unusable command. Stun edge with magnets to hit down. If you get lucky and you get a fleeting crystal in the escort, you want to put it on here. Unfortunately, we did not. That would have given us an attack haste early, which is nice. But not the end of the world, didn't get it. Thunder plus Magnet gives us other Magnera. Zero Gravity plus Magnet. This you want to meld with a random command or crystal. Hungry Crystals will give you Treasure Magnet, which has the potential to be useful for grabbing. It's if there was going to be a thing that was going to actually like have utility, it would be that. It doesn't really, but this is the deck you want. You want 2 Magneras and Thunder, and then 2 Fires and 2 Binds. You will use the Magnets, Thunders, and you can just tab right down to the Magnera, so that's a pretty easy thing to just go for. So yeah, I recommend kind of just sticking to this command order. You won't need it for very long anyways. We also equip Counter Hammer and Air Slide. And we are out of here. And because we have 2 Magneras in our deck, this next fight in Radiant Garden is a lot less scary. It is very nice, actually. Especially with... This is the last time we're going to do the thing with trying to place the magnet in the middle of a ring of floods. This is the last fight where it comes up, but we're going to open the same way, lock onto a flood, step back slightly before we use the magnet, and then we go from there. And it looks... I think I caught everything.
Thunder! Gather!
And thunder is here. So that's the ideal. You want to catch all of the floods, and then it should suck in all 4 of these guys immediately. And then you just pop another Magnera, you pop a thunder, they're dead. If one of the floods ducks you, which happens relatively frequently, that's just the thing that happens, it's fine. You drop a Mind Square and revert because you want to have your D-Link back. And then you want to try and kill the flood with magnets still in the center part of the room so you can try and replicate the same effect. And you may have to use just a basic finisher instead of thunder, but as long as you're able to group everything together, you should be in a good position to do that. If one of these guys gets away from you, you can also use the finisher to do a good amount of damage. You can do that and then pop a couple of the fires on your base deck, and that will usually kill. This is the ideal. The next wave is about to spawn in, and I want to be about here, like on one of these flower patterns. So that I'm a little off-center, and I'm in between where 2 of the little red guys, the chilies, are going to spawn on the next wave. I pop the magnet.
Thunder!
That puts me automatically on Mind Square. And,
Gather! Thunder!
Okay, that went mostly according to plan. That was good. The idea there is that the Magnera is placed so that sucks in 2 of those red guys, and then the initial sort of volleys before you do the like action commands of the finisher will just naturally kill them. Didn't quite work out that way, so I had to do a couple of the inputs. You want to be careful not to do too many, or you might knock away one of the bruisers, which isn't the end of the world. You can recover that, but it makes the fight a lot less consistent. And that should ideally place you pretty close to center to drop your Mind Square, drop your Magnera, and end the fight. And the rest of this is going to look pretty similar to what you lot should be familiar with. Shimmering Crystal, I'm going to pick it up just to demonstrate I have enough extra crystals, but that's another easy crystal you can grab if you're not getting a lot of extra drops and you want that extra money from your Thundaras. So yeah, everything in this room up to the menu should be basically the same as what you're used to. Ooh, Blizzard Drop. That's slightly convenient, actually. We were gonna have to buy another Blizzard later.
Gather! Thunder!
Some very small optimization. And yeah, ideally you want your binds to level up there. Sometimes they need one more wave, in which case you'll just come here. And we menu here. You meld fire onto bind. We should have a soothing crystal. You will meld that onto at least one of your ignites. You can meld it onto a second one if you want. I don't think it actually matters. And thunder plus a random, you know, it could have been a soothing or a pulsing, but I picked up the shimmering. Sure, thunder boost. 2 Magneras, and I do 2 Thundaras, 2 Ignites, and Thunder Surge. And Trinity Armor isn't really going to be fundamentally... This movement is going to be different because you won't have Fire Dash, but that's fine. And naturally, we'll be using Ignites to get into Firestorm here, not Fire Dash, which does make this fight feel ever so slightly different. But it's the same basic principle. You want to build up your Firestorm finishers, use them at opportune times, and this fight is just very RNG dependent, and it's a real test of your ability to react to bad situations and make the best of them.
Fire!
I open with the Ignite into 2 Thundaras. Enter Firestorm. I could have maybe gotten away with the Magnera cast there. Again, I'm going to Ignite.
Thunder! Thunder! Gather! Gather! Say goodbye! Thunder! Thunder! Fire! Gather!
And over on the other side of the arena, you can see Ventus being completely useless.
Gather! Gather! Thunder! Thunder!
It is a lot easier to build up a finisher under here. Something I like to do if I have my commands on cooldown is walk around slightly outside the center where you normally stand just to be safe directly under the head. That tends to give Ventus and Aqua the space to get just enough under the head that they can get full combos off sometimes. Just makes the damage slightly better. And here, gonna use Aqua to snap to the ground here. Ordinarily we would use Ventus. We don't have it. So no dealing sliding dashes. I'm going to recommend you kill 2 waves of enemies on the way to break. I usually only kill that one. But command points for your Magneros can potentially be an issue in this route. So that wave I just killed is pretty good for getting a little bit of extra CP right at the start there. Sorry for the mic bump. And I menued away from Thunder for some reason. And also for money safety, there is a Fire chest over here. Must grab for no resets. I try to skip it whenever I can. If it seems like my money is going to be good, I'll usually leave it alone. Break fight is not fundamentally different from what we're used to. You're going to ignite him. He's going to dodge out of them.
Fire! Fire! Thunder! Fire!
He can go for a cheeky
Fire!
Last thing, that's not a change from what we know about the fight.
Come on! Fire!
That was not something I talked about with Kirby the other day, actually. So, each of these cycles that it does in between going to the bird's nest to snipe you, Braig can do the ground pattern and the air pattern. So if he does the ground pattern first, he will always do the air pattern after a charge shot. And if he does the air pattern, he'll always do the ground pattern, which is like the one shot every time. So because he did the ground pattern that last time, I knew that he was going to transition to the air next time. So I was able to get in a physical hit in the Thunder, just get a little bit of extra damage.
Fire!
And this time I know I can't go for the same thing.
Fire! Come on, gather!
I'm going to do a magnet there just because I know that this reflect will kill her. Yeah, Magnera is an option play you can use, actually. That's certainly worth talking about. If your ignites are on cooldown, you can interrupt with a Magnera and it'll actually be faster. Even if the ignite goes off and you actually get damage from it, you know, that still there's a hit react that Brig has to do before he'll progress to the next thing. And if he doesn't get hit, he'll always like do a teleport out of it. So in that situation, I decided to just opt for the Magnera, and that ended up saving me probably a half a second or something. I don't know, but you know, things you can think about. And at some point between now and 10 rounds, you're going to want to do a menu to put on 2 blizzards. I put it off until later because I want to keep the Thunder Surge on my deck for a couple of fights. If you delay putting on Thunder Surge to after the Olympus Coliseum Force fight, then your Dark Volley Shotlock won't reach max level for final fights, which can be slightly problematic for Vanitas. So for safety, you may want to do the menu here just to get your Dark Volley on earlier, make sure that that's fully leveled up. But you don't need to... You need very little CP on the Blizzard, so you can delay it, and it doesn't really end up mattering that much with regards to the Dark Volley. We use it for Vanitas, and that's literally it at this point. So, there's a couple potential options there. You can menu here, I choose not to. And besides that, Rumble Racing is exactly what you've come to expect. Yeah, if you're literally just fast forward to the end of this, if you know how Rumble, I'm not gonna have anything interesting to say here.
Bring it! Bring it! See ya!
And as always, if you don't get sub 2, your run's invalid. Sorry, don't make the rules, that's just how it is. And yeah, as always, you want, for the optimal sort of cutscene loadout coming out of Disney Town to go fast, you want to have a clear game save with one other character, and you also want to have unlocked Rumble Racing with them, because that's a text box that you don't get. We're going to Deep Space. We no longer do Olympus Coliseum first. we mash X for this. There is a way to skip that tutorial text box. It's frame perfect, pause and unpause. It barely saves time. And it's not really a serious thing you should go for, but I feel like acknowledging it anyways. And this force fight is a lot easier because we have double Magnera, double Thundara. Old route doesn't have that. What I do generally is I come to the center here, Magnet Thunder, enter Aqua, Magnet Thunder. And then I use
Gather! Thunder!
Yeah, that is part of the reason I keep the Thunder Surge on. I like to use the Thunder Surge because the final wave won't spawn until one of those robots is dead. And the way you do that basically guarantees that you catch at least one of them. So, you know, doing a Thunder Surge into the Magna tends to be a much easier way to get the kill on that and spawn the last wave than doing basically anything else. Like, it's just good single target damage, which Thundara isn't if you only have one enemy. So yeah, that's the thing you can do with Thunder Surge. That fight is, generally speaking, a lot better now. I'm going to show you all some movement you can only do if you are doing advanced Zac strats. If you are doing any kind of Flame Salvo loop, then you would need to have Flame Salvo on by this point. But if you don't have a Wellspring, you can come to about here.
Let's go.
Shot lock up here, and it'll get you up here. I need a Wellspring, so I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to do something similar. Okay, I'm about to die. Cool. That's not... Alright. Yeah, this is the thing, because we're not by default entering a shot lock or entering a D-Link. Getting hit by those guns is actually annoying. So you want to... So after opening the chest, you want to jump back, target that gun, and that gets you up here. And if you do it correctly, unlike what just happened, then you get to hold on to your D-Link, which is basically only good for just an emergency heal if you need it on Sparky. Which is not nothing. It also means that if you don't get your D-Link back in the forest fight, you don't have to worry about getting it back, which is nice. But now we have to talk about Gunless. The way that Gunless works is that you need to get his HP down to a very specific value, and then break his HP barrier while manipulating his position so that he gets caught on the guns and can't enter them. And the way we do that is by using ignites. Each ignite does 10 ticks of damage. So if you do ignite 5 times, each time doing the full 10 ticks, that will push Sparky just to the edge of the damage gate.
Fire! Fire!
That also means we cannot reflect these balls of electricity, because they will do damage. That's our third ignite, though. If done correctly, the second ignite should push to exactly 2 bars of health.
Fire! Fire!
Yeah, the thing I said. And you want to have an ignite up, and basically we are looking for Sparky to do his charge attack I want to bait him to do it at us from across the room. We're going to counter hammer. We're going to guard, then as he's doing the second charge, we're going to delay activating the counter hammer so that he targets us in the air. And we want him to end up near the gun, sort of in a semicircle, with the semicircle facing inward, if that makes any sense. It's hard to explain, so I'm just going to show it, actually. So we are waiting for it. Okay, that worked, I think. It did not work. Okay, well, that's the idea. And I lost the target, so I wasn't able to manipulate my positioning. But I sort of placed myself, like, using, like, sort of the lines on the floor. I want to be, like, about halfway between the guns. And actually, let me... I have time. I can try to show this. Let me try and actually get this. Just get a better attempt at that. Again, you should already know this category.
Fire!
So I shouldn't have to explain to you how to deal with the guns.
Fire!
If you get them.
Fire!
You walk around in a circle. At high level, it's a run killer. The DM is an enormous time loss. And I'm sort of positioning myself. You can jump over those orbs, it's a little precise. But it tends to mean they don't loop around. So I'm keeping myself like on the opposite end of the room from where he is as much as I can. And sometimes you'll get trolled and he'll just do this. I think that'll work. It will not work. I somehow made it work.
Fire!
Okay.
Gather! Thunder! Fire! Gather! Thunder!
And I somehow got his basic finisher.
Fire! Gather!
Okay, weird. Apparently that works though. See, and some commands will push Sparky while he's entering or trying to enter the guns, which is why I went for that at the last ditch. So yeah, if you know the Thunder Surge can be used to push him, physical combos can push him a little bit. So I was able to finagle that somehow. But that's what you're looking for, and then you go and you keep your ignites up. Thundara does good damage because the gun counts as another target, so it does like multi-hit damage. But at that point, you just wail on him, and then he dies. Continued in part 2. Gonna drop a save here for the purposes of that. And this will have to be a to be continued. Yeah, I hope you learned something. Stick around to learn about the rest of the run.